You know that feeling, right? You've got this amazing idea or some killer results, but when you put it on paper, it just doesn't land. The clarity you have in your head is lost. Well, today we are going to fix that for good. We're diving into the one secret ingredient that turns choppy, confusing sentences into clear, powerful, and logical writing.
All right, let's jump right in with a little test so you can see exactly what I'm talking about.
So take a look at these two bits of text. On the left, in text A, we've just got a list of facts. It's okay, but it's choppy. Now look at text B. It has the exact same information, but it tells a story, doesn't it? It just flows. The big question is why? What makes text B so much easier to read and so much more professional?
So what is that secret ingredient? What creates that massive leap in clarity? It's not some super complex vocabulary or anything like that. No, it all comes down to just a couple of very simple but very powerful words.
And there you have it. They're called connectors. Think of these as the little signposts for your reader. They're the bridges you build between your ideas, and they create that logical flow that is, honestly, the absolute hallmark of great scientific writing. So let's open up the Writer's Toolkit, shall we? We're going to get you set up with the main types of connectors you'll be using to build arguments that are not just good, but clear and totally convincing. You can think of these categories like different tools for different jobs, right? If you need to add another piece of supporting evidence, you grab an addition tool like moreover. If you need to show an opposite or surprising result, you use a contrast tool like however. Knowing which tool to pull out of the box is the real key here.
Now, here is a super quick pro tip that will immediately make your writing sound more professional. In any kind of formal paper, you really want to avoid starting your sentences with words like so or but. Just swapping those out for therefore or however is such a simple change, but trust me, it makes a world of difference in your academic tone.
All right, so now we know what the tools are. Let's look at the 3 basic ways you can actually use them to connect your ideas. Think of this as the blueprint for building really solid sentences. First up, we've got the coordinating conjunctions. You might remember these from school with the acronym FANBOYS. That's for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. These are your absolute workhorses for joining 2 equal, complete ideas. Like in the example, the sample was heated and the solution turned clear. See? 2 complete thoughts, 1 simple connection. Second, we have subordinators. Now, these are words like although or because, and they create a more complex relationship. Basically, they make one part of the sentence dependent on the other. This lets you show some real nuance. For example, although the sample was small, the results were consistent. That first word, although, immediately signals to the reader that a contrast is coming. And third, we have the sentence linkers. These are the heavy hitters, words like therefore and however. They connect 2 complete sentences, but here's the key thing to notice, the punctuation. You use a semicolon before the linker. This creates a really strong formal bridge between 2 ideas that are very closely related. Okay, quick pause. We gotta fix a really common mistake that I see all the time. You cannot say, the test failed due to the battery was empty. The rule is super simple. Because of and due to have to be followed by a noun, like an empty battery. If you have a full sentence with a verb, like the battery was empty, you have to use the word because. Getting this right is a small detail that shows you're a careful writer. Okay, enough with the theory, let's get practical. Let's go see how these connectors actually look out in the wild, how they're used in real scientific writing to guide a reader through complex data and arguments. Just look at this example from a results section. See how every single connector is doing a specific job? Whereas sets up that perfect comparison. Then however pivots to an exception. In contrast highlights another difference. And finally, therefore, delivers the big takeaway. These words are literally telling you how to think about the results. It's beautiful. So here's the big idea. Different parts of your paper are going to need different kinds of connectors. In your intro, you're probably pointing out a problem using however. In your methods, you're just describing a sequence, so you'll use first, then next. Consider this slide your personal roadmap for picking the right connector for the right section of your paper. All right, pop quiz time. Let's see if you've been paying attention. Here's the sentence. The sensor failed calibration, blank, measurements were postponed. Which connector fits best in that blank to show the logical link? Is it A, however, B, for example, or C, therefore? Think about it for a second. And the answer is C, therefore. If you got that, nice one. The sensor failing caused the measurements to be postponed. Therefore is the perfect word to show that clear cause and effect relationship. Okay, let's bring this all home. I want to give you a simple, actionable plan that you can use every single time you write to make sure your paragraphs are rock solid and crystal clear.
Here it is, the 4-step recipe for a perfect paragraph. 1. Start with your main point. 2. Use an addition connector to add more evidence. 3. Use a contrast connector to deal with any exceptions. And 4. Use a cause and effect connector to state your final conclusion. If you follow this structure, your paragraphs will practically write themselves.
And one last thing, before you even think about hitting that submit button again, just quickly run your paper through this checklist. Are you using a variety of connectors? Is their purpose totally clear? Are you repeating however over and over? This little 5-minute check can make a massive difference to the quality of your final draft.
So, I guess there's only one question left to ask. Which paragraph in your own writing are you going to transform first? Go on. Take everything we've talked about today, open up your latest draft, and watch how just a few carefully chosen connectors can make your brilliant ideas finally shine the way they're supposed to.